Again, sorry for the late release on the last episode. I originally planned for Season 1 to end in January 2018, but since Year 11 is rolling around, I may have to put reviews on hold for a while. Side note, whenever I say Sega CD, I mean Sega CD for the US and Mega CD for Europe and Japan. Anyways, Sonic CD was being developed in Japan at the same time Sonic 2 was. Other than Sonic Mania, this is the only classic Sonic game I never played, at least until I started playing it in September when the last review was wrapping up. The Sega CD was a commercial flop, so it didn't get much attention during its initial run. Well, let's see what we're missing out. Without further ado, I'm JaRetro, welcome to JaRetro Reviews, and this is my review of Sonic CD. Sonic CD has a somewhat unique plot, and by somewhat unique plot I mean literally just a change of location with extra characters. Not that anything is wrong with that. Robotnik has taken over Lil Plant, which visits Mobius annually, which is what Sonic's world is called, at least according to Sonic comics. Being that every year it arrives at the same place, that being over Never Lake, and the fact that this is a Sonic game, of course Dr. Robotnik would use this as an opportunity to do what he does best, and that's build a base, wreck the place, and chain the planet to his face. He literally carves his face into a mountain where he chains up the planet. What a narcissistic bastard. And of course, leave it to Sonic to chase down Robotnik. Sonic eventually meets Amy, who immediately falls in love with Sonic. If it were not for Metal Sonic, then Amy will be stalking Sonic the whole game. Yes, Metal Sonic was introduced in this game and promptly kidnaps Amy as early as the second zone. Why? How should I know? Eggman is probably holding her for ransom or something. Sonic goes out to stop Robotnik and rescue Amy on the way there. Because of Amy and Metal Sonic, we get a little bit more in the story department, which helps to give this game a slightly different identity, however little that is. I like the different approach to the story. It's certainly executed better than how the Super Mario series tried to tweak the plots for its games, even including Yoshi's Island, and it's something I can appreciate. We also got Amy and Metal Sonic as series staple characters. Okay, before we talk visuals, here is Sonic 1. Here is Sonic 2. And holy hell, this is Sonic CD. Look at it. Unlike the other classic Sonic games, this game was made for a Sega CD, which explains the major improvements. The extra graphical power really makes the Sonic style look even better. Sonic's sprite didn't change, but the improvement in the aesthetics of the zones and the extra frames of animation on Sonic are a welcome addition in my book. Some of these frames came back in a revamped form in Sonic Mania too. This is a great looking game. I'm so glad that this was a Sega CD or Mega CD game. The graphical effects look like they're being done on a Super Nintendo. Tower Tempest has a water effect and it looks amazing. The Genesis games tried this for Labyrinth Zone and Chemical Plant, but didn't come nearly as close. The backgrounds are also extremely big and tall, especially the Good Future backgrounds I encountered on my second run. Every single zone has an amazing and vibrant visual flair due to the sheer detail and super well thought out palette choices that, yes, were in the Genesis Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, but again, better graphics allow for better aesthetics. I believe that Sega did an excellent job of putting the extra power of the Sega CD to use. Speaking of the Sega CD's extra power, can I just gush about the music, specifically the European version? Sonic CD actually has two soundtracks, one for the Japanese and European versions and one for the North American versions. I played the European version because I prefer that soundtrack, and in the remake for Steam, you can select either. I especially like the intro songs for both soundtracks. Fun fact, the intro in the Japanese version is actually a remix of the theme for Green Hill Zone from the 8-bit Master System version of Sonic 2. Or the Game Gear version if you like, they're basically the same game. The track itself is somewhat jazzy and very upbeat and I just love it. The US version's Boss, Invincibility and Speed Shoes music tracks, yeah, they don't fit in a Sonic game. The freaking boss theme creeped me out when I started playing the game in preparation for the review. Understandably, I said screw that shit and went straight for the EU version, which is completely in the clear. Let me restate that I love the intro to the Japanese version. even if it's hard to hear the lyrics. By now you should be familiar with what a Sonic game is, collecting rings, going fast, you know, Sonic stuff. Unless you skipped over the previous 2 reviews or you're new to my channel, in which case there is an iCard up in the corner to link you back to those videos. So watch them before you continue watching here. Sonic's spin dash is wonky and it's hard to control, probably being a last minute addition to the game after they realised it was in Sonic 2. You have to hold it down instead of tapping the button. Everyone is far more familiar with the version from Sonic 2 and 3. Sonic also has a super peel out move. It's a faster spin dash without the spin. Cool. The zone themes are solid for the most part. I didn't enjoy Metallic Madness all that much since it just felt like a more boring version of Scrap Brain from Sonic 1. Actually, for going to compare zones, Palm Tree Panic is like Green Hill, Collision Chaos is like Spring Yard, Stardust Speedway is like Starlight Zone, and Tidal Tempest is like Labyrinth Zone. It's a little distracting to be honest, but I'll roll with it. Here is the zone list up on the screen. If I was to pick highlights or at least level structures I remember, it would be the huge ramp in Palm Tree Panic, this upside down bracket bit in Collision Chaos which is made for the game's main gimmick, the stupid falling spike lines in Metallic Madness Acts 2 and 3, the falling bit at the start of Tidal Tempest Act 2 which loops, the flat area at the bottom of Quartz Quadrant, and most of Stardust Speedway and the springs at the bottom of Collision Chaos. As for the memorability of the zones as a whole versus their predecessors, it stacks up to be a bit better than Sonic 2. While Sonic 2 has more variety in terms of routes, Sonic CD's levels feel a bit more compact and a bit linear. The levels use a lot more verticality as well, at least that's the impression I got from them. From what I played, Sonic 2 is more speed focused than exploration focused, and Sonic CD feels like a slower, more explorative version of that game as a result of the level design. It's sort of like Sonic 2 is made a lot wider open and more condensed but with fewer partways. This makes them feel less constrained than Sonic 2 without compromising its linearity, even if I don't think the secret design isn't as great. Sonic CD actually has a way to change the zone as you play, and that way is time travel. Yes, 3 games into the series and we have time travel. Luckily it doesn't really affect the plot though, thank God. Scattered around the levels are past and future signs. Using these you can travel to the past or future by going fast for a short time, roughly 20 or so seconds, signified by time travel sparks. If you get interrupted at the last second, your spark goes away. I'd rather that you just have it be like Sonic 2 with the sparkly ring instead of this time travel spark stuff. It is a bit clunky. Let me explain it like this. Here is the past. Here is the present. The bad future. And the good future, which I won't spoil here. You start in the present and can go to the past, bad future and good future. The past is overrun with wilderness and the music is all jungly and rustic-like. The present is where you start every act. The bad future is where Robotnik turns the zone into a mechanical factory full of smog. I found it confusing that finishing the act in the bad future or the past takes you into the present in the next act. I didn't spoil what the good future looks like, so you guys can play the game and not be spoiled and such. This is where most of the replayability of Sonic CD lies, because of the following. 1. These are new spins on existing levels complete with tweaked layouts. 2. Travelling to the past and breaking Robotnik's mechanizers is one of the ways you can get the good ending and it requires a lot of exploration. 3. It's unlikely you will see every version of a zone on your first playthrough unless you can travel to the bad future and back, time travel back to the past, break all of Robotnik's mechanized machines, and that's considering you can find them all, and future travel twice to get to the good future via the present for every single zone. What? Yeah, you're not doing that on your first try. Third try if you're a madman. In order to get a good future, you must travel to the past and break Robotnik's machines, which I decided not to do since I'd rather go the special stage route. Oh yeah, I just remembered something. I didn't really know where to put this in the script, so this little bit is unscripted. But the zone time travels, like the time traveling alts of like the original zones, they use something called leitmotif, which essentially is a repeating of a motif with remixes and changes to the original source material, i.e. the jungly and rustic-like stuff in the past, the mechanized whirring and stuff and the future thing, but it still uses the same tune. And now I've broken my segue, speaking of the special stages, let's talk about them. Gather 50 rings, jump into a giant ring at the end of the stage, like in Sonic 1, and you're in the brand new special stage. In this one, you have to break all the UFOs under a time limit. You can't stop running, and hitting the water drains your time, which you can replenish when a blue UFO appears for you to jump into. Although the frame rate is sort of choppy, the stages are fun, interesting, and challenging. I like how they went all out with the graphical effects. It honestly looks like an SNES game using Mode 7 effects, for example Super Mario Kart. There are also a few other obstacles from the main game, like walls, spikes, springs, and bumpers. Overall, this is a way better special stage than the previous two games, and are also pretty nice to look at. Before we continue, spoiler warning! If you intend to play the game, like you should because Sonic CD is a great game, or are watching this with a group of friends, this would be the point where you click onto another JaRetro video. Please play this game because I will spoil some of the best bits. Okay. Obligatory spoilers out of the way, let's talk boss fights. Sonic CD's bosses are super cool compared to the ones in the original too. For one, they are mostly based on the zone's gimmicks except for the first and last boss, which you can cheese with damage buffering. Yes, they put rings in the final boss, which are absent in the final bosses of Sonic 1 and 2. Take the zone's gimmick, whether it be pinball mechanics, conveyor belts, or the classic Eggmobile, with bubbles, and bam, you have a boss selection which is very interesting. Certainly a lot better than Sonic 1 and Sonic 2's bosses. These ones also don't overstay their welcome since they take 3 hits rather than 8. Basically, Sonic CD has bosses based on stage mechanics, and Sonic 1 and 2 have ones that are less so in favour of having the boss have its own shtick. I like the CD bosses because they echo the theme of the stage, which adds to them feeling like actual places rather than here's a nice place, do a thing, go away. It makes them feel larger than life in some aspects. And we arrive at the final moment section, and oh boy, these are some great final levels. Stardust Speedway is really fun. It's also where you race Sonic to Amy whilst Robotnik follows you with a freaking death laser. Jeez, you think you could have used that before? This is a cool fight. You have to basically outrun Sonic while there's spikes and he throws out attacks at you, and it's really fun. After smashing into a shutter door, Sonic is out of commission and we save Amy. The last zone is Metallic Madness, and really what happens here isn't related to our plot until the final boss. It's this weird, spinny thing. Whatever, I have rings this time, fat man. Robotnik's final fight was really easy to cheese. Honestly, the game should have ended with the Sonic death race. That would be cool as. I won't spoil the good ending as usual. After you beat the final boss, Sonic saves Amy, runs off and knocks Robotnik out of the sky with a rock. I like that scene. With that, you got the bad ending of Sonic CD. If you want to know the good ending, give this game some love and play it one way or another. There is also a remake on Steam which adds a better saving system and some other cool features, including Tails. Great presentation in terms of quality and fidelity, fun gameplay and both consistency and diversion from the classic series. Sonic CD is a fun and unique entry in the classic Sonic series, and a game you should definitely play. Honestly, Sonic CD has this quality about where it has a lot more quality zones than the other titles. Like, the zones seem to be a lot bigger and a lot different and just have more packed into them. But there's less levels to compensate, and that's something I'm completely on board with. So I guess that just leaves Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Why the and Knuckles after Sonic 3? I'll explain in the next episode. When it happens, which won't be anytime soon, because you're 11. Anyways, with that said, I am JaRetro. Thanks for watching episode 9 of JaRetro Reviews, and this was my review of Sonic CD. Join us next time when I do Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and I may even bring on a special guest. With that said, have a good one.